Hello, and welcome to episode 5 of the Happier Active podcast. I'm the host, Ellie. This week we have Stephanie Healy, who's a mindset and empowerment coach, and it's a really great conversation about mindset shift and change and, small things you can do that will have big impacts on how you view yourself. She's really interesting and really knowledgeable in that area, so I think it's a great chat for getting into that kind of area. So looking forward to everyone hearing that. And as ever, if you've got any feedback, comments, questions, something I was thinking I might start doing at some point is doing little mini episodes, maybe on a Friday, answering any questions that people have. So you can email me just happyactive@gmail.com, so I can do some of them maybe. And any feedback or topics you'd like to have covered, love to hear it. Enjoy this episode. So there are many ways to find your path to better health and happiness, and what works is highly individualised to each person. So my philosophy is that most people are more likely to find that if they're active participants in their own journey. So this is a space to start exploring some of the rich and varied areas in which people practice, and so you can start thinking about what resonates with you and discover new and different practices to either start or deepen your health journey. And then today I have Stephanie Healy, who's a mindset and empowerment coach. So, hi, and why don't you tell us a bit about what you do?
Yeah, perfect. So I am a mindset and empowerment coach, mainly for women, but I help men also. And the basis and the foundation of my work is to prevent women from reaching burnout and future burnout. So it's spotting the red flags really early in advance and getting to the root cause of it. Why does this keep happening? Why do they get triggered? Why is their nervous system dysregulated? And overall, just helping them create a more happier, healthier, fulfilling life that is trigger-free for the main part, and for the most part, and that, they can just have more fun, not be stressed, not be waking up with that heavy feeling in their chest, and really deepen the connection that they have with their mind, their body, and their spirit. So I definitely tie in spiritual aspects into my work as well.
Oh, that's amazing. I think that's so important, because even for people who don't think of themselves as spiritual, finding that connection to that is really important, of some kind, whatever that is for each person, is so helpful for your why, for want of a better word.
Yes, oh my goodness, 100%. And I'm very spiritual myself, but I didn't really bring that into my work until recently. And the shift that has come with that, with me feeling more in alignment, my clients getting better results and getting immediate breakthroughs almost, of just really connecting them back to themselves or their inner child or past versions of themselves. And yeah, as you said, maybe people aren't spiritual or they don't even know what it is, but I really believe it's a huge missing link to people's lives. And I really tie that in with the nervous system as well. We are energy, say, we can get an electric shock. Why? So it's just digging a bit deeper into ourselves, I think, to get some
that's
answers.
so interesting. And I think burnout and is something that I talk about a lot with clients, because there seems to be so much pressure, especially for women, to do everything, say yes to everything, and then look like they're not tired and they're managing, and not ask for help, and do it all perfectly. And then often people don't realise that that's what's happening until it's way too late, or they've snapped, or
absolutely
so difficult.
It's the way the world is designed and almost set up. It's so that we operate the same as a man. However, our cycle is based on 28 days with our menstrual cycle. Men operate on a 24-hour cycle. So it's okay and normal for us not to have the same energy levels every day of the week, not to have the same strength, not to be happy all the time. So then trying to put that facade on and be all happy and smiley, it can really have women feel then this huge disconnection inside, because they're not living by the natural rhythms of their life, and it can be very hard. I know for me, when I was learning all about this, I was like, what, slow down on my period? You know, absolutely not. But the change that comes with this, and the clarity, and I'm not saying lie in bed for 5 days and do nothing, of course we all have jobs, but like just maybe lift lighter weights at the gym, maybe don't even go to the gym just for a couple of days, do some yoga instead, take a bath, put a face mask on, maybe reflect on how the last couple of weeks have been in your life, and just getting that extra quiet and downtime strengthens that internal connection that you have with yourself, and you'll really feel your intuition then turning on more and more. And maybe I don't want to go to that event, or you know, people will become aware of maybe they do have people pleasing tendencies, or not the strongest of boundaries in place. So from here, it's just like a week to, well, obviously we should be doing it all the time, but a great place to start is the week of your menstrual cycle, to just slow down, and getting those bits of insight, then they will appear.
Yeah, so that's something that I've done recently, is that I really noticed that the 2 days before my period, I really struggle to recover. And so if I am perfectly capable
from a workout, is it?
Yeah, so if I go for a run, the run will be just as good as it was the week before, but it'll take me 2 days to feel normal again.
Yes.
And so on those days now, I'll go for a walk instead, or do some stretching, because it's just, I can do it, but then it has a knock-on effect maybe for a week, where if I just go for a walk, I'm still getting the movement, but it's not having that like knock-on effect. It's so interesting, and it's taken me nearly 40 years to figure that out.
Wow. Yeah, I know, because we're not really taught about it in school. Well, not that I'm aware of anyway. And it seems like not normal to slow down, or maybe it's even perceived as being weak, you know, oh, you can't keep up. Or I remember I had a personal trainer, and like he never asked me when let me know when you're on your cycle, because we physically cannot lift the same amount of weight. So trying to squat really heavy or going for a PB, it's just really not good. But that's really nice to hear that you are slowing down and honouring yourself and honouring your body.
Yeah, and it is interesting what you say, like the number of women that I talk to when you first suggest that are often really like, oh no. And it's that's quite a big mindset change to make, of actually, it's not weak, it's not bad, it's just helping yourself to not be exhausted unnecessarily, like you're just working in tune with your body.
Totally. And it actually helps. Like I've noticed when I would push through, say, the week of my period, or I have meetings or presentations scheduled in and there's a lot of work around them, there, you know, some adrenaline, all of that. For me, I'm actually like extra tired then for the week, maybe 10 days after. So by slowing down, it actually helps you speed up for the rest of the month. But to really surrender to that, I know it can be like you're letting go of like a part of you, but it really, really is beneficial. And especially for women and their feminine energy also. I feel a lot of the world is like, there's a bit of an imbalance. A lot of people are in their masculine mode, and as we spoke about, just like, you know, work hard every single day, 5 days a week, rush, do this, do that. But it's like, we need to slow down and avoid burnout. This is going to be a huge factor in avoiding that burnout and doing more.
It's funny. So I do like a monthly challenge for people, and it's always, so it's like a physical challenge, a physical fitness challenge, mental health and self-care.
Yes.
And there's always a theme, and this month it's been rest and recovery, and it has been really interesting how many people have found that really difficult, especially the people who normally like doing the sort of more fitness stuff quite hard.
Yes.
And
so it's for the month of January, is it?
Yeah, because in December people tend to stay up too late, eat too much, drink too much, go out a lot, often get sick as well because they're doing all that stuff. And so January is like a good time to be a bit more hibernatey with the winter and recover and rest. And so the exercise one was try and not do anything, so no DOMs, like not getting out of breath, So it's still doing whatever it is you do at your level,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
not trying to improve, just maintain. And
Yeah.
it's so interesting how many people find that really difficult because
Wow.
they're just
I
used to like
bet.
push, 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 push.
Totally. Yeah. And like, I'm all for New Year's goals and everything, but as you said, Christmas is usually hectic. Nearly everybody gets sick because it's like they've been going so hard all year, and then I feel it's like they just stop all of a sudden, and there's such a change in their routine. So you actually do need to recover then. So I love that. That's really,
It's
really
funny,
good.
when I was growing up, it always used to be like a family joke, but you kind of realise now that I'm an adult with kids, but my mum always used to get sick on Boxing Day, on the day after
Okay.
Christmas for Americans, because she, I guess, had been so busy, like, she had 4 kids, she was organising Christmas for all of us, like, not stopping, and then I guess on Christmas Day she'd finally be like, oh, it's done now, I can relax. And she would always wake up on Boxing Day with a cold or flu or
Wow.
really ill, and you just realise it's that relaxing suddenly from doing too much.
Yes. Yeah. 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 It's so interesting. And I feel, though, on a global scale, more people are becoming slightly more open to the thought of it,
Mhm.
or aware, and realizing that the burnout cycle isn't normal and it can be avoided, and we don't have to have it happen potentially every 6 or 12 weeks.
Yeah.
We just
So the
listen.
mindset things. What's a good place for people to start if they know that they've got kind of issues around their mindset, but they don't know how to address it?
Yeah, good question. I feel, I say this to everybody, just sitting in silence for like 5 minutes a day, maybe 10. You don't even have to meditate. You could do deep belly breaths, so not breathing into the throat, but breathing into your stomach and pushing it out like a balloon. That can even take a while to understand. We learned about that when I was studying anatomy and physiology for my holistic therapies course, massage, reflexology, and a few other items. And we actually had to learn how to breathe properly. You know, and it's like we're all adults, like learning how to breathe into our stomachs. And you could see when people couldn't get it because their shoulders rise instead. So learning how to breathe into your stomach is a great way to really help all the systems in the body, like our nervous system, every single system, because you're really breathing deeply, sending more oxygen around the body, and this just helps your brain to slow down. No distractions, nothing going on in the external. You don't want your kids calling you, you don't have your phone in your hand, you don't want your computer open in front of you. Just 5 minutes, maybe even outside with your shoes off, and like put your feet on the ground if it's not like minus 20 degrees outside,
Yeah.
and just sit. And the shift you will feel and see as the days go on, you'll just instantly feel calmer. I feel it's like, oh, everything in your mind can just start to compartmentalize then, because you're giving yourself the space to breathe and to again hear your intuition and to get answers rising through. Like, how can we hear this voice when it's non-stop chatter or non-stop scrolling, working, driving to work, getting ready, getting a shower, going to the gym? So just slowing down, I think, is a really good place to start.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
And
And
it's
then
free.
what about, I know I've seen that you've put a bit about it on your Instagram, and it's something that I'm really interested in, is how people deal with their kind of inner critic when that's sort of what's sabotaging them a bit.
Yeah, yeah. So we have to realize that the voice in our head, it's not actually us, if you think about it, because we're observing it. So it's like, okay, first of all, there's a great book. I'll probably send it to you after. I think his name Michael
Perfect.
Singer, and he basically talks all about this, that your voice in your head is like an annoying housemate, or you're living with them. So, and they're
Yeah.
there your whole life. So, you know, trying to get on board with them and being on the same side is better than them being completely against you. And a friend said to me before, when I was going through a tough time, or say going through different mental states and motions, that it's like it's a season, it's not there forever. And trying to become best friends with this voice is going to serve you and us the world of good. It's literally like having our own back. So what I would do is try and get to the root cause. Like, where did this voice, when did it start? where do you think it has stemmed from? Is it maybe an ex-partner said something to you that stuck onto you? Is it a teacher said, oh, you know, like teachers are great, but sometimes they can be the biggest triggers in our adult life if they're like, oh no, Tommy, you don't sing because maybe his voice is breaking or something. You know what I mean? And it can really like knock a kid 10 feet back. So yeah, I would try and become aware of where did it stem from, where did it start. If it's from somebody or something from the external, know that, well, either way, it's up to you to decide and to make changes, right? Like we're allowing what's going on up there every day. No one is saying you have to listen to that every day. Like we have a choice in everything. We have a choice on what goes on in our conscious mind and unconscious mind. So I would just try breaking it down first and then seeing what can you replace it with. So if I'm amazing and I love myself is this huge stretch and a huge jump and it feels extremely foreign, you could say, this voice is still here, but I am learning to feel different emotions towards it. I am starting to think better thoughts about myself. I am going to open up to the fact that I can add new phrases in my mind. Something tiny, just like a half a step ahead, and it feels really good to the body. The body is very like acceptable and like receptive of healthy change. And it's just creating new neural pathways. So if it's been going on a long time that you've been hearing this voice, it's like an ant lane almost. It's like deeply ingrained. So what you're trying to do is create new neural pathways, healthier ones. Is it going to happen overnight? Probably not. But if you stick with it every day, every single day, and eventually this will be the new hardwired thoughts and critic or nice person in your mind, and then this one will start to dissolve. And every time you hear it, catching yourself and just changing your state. It might be standing up from your desk. It might be getting a glass of water, just changing what you're currently doing. It can just help break it into, yeah.
Yeah, that's good advice. I also think like I found that helped for me, like the language that I use.
Yeah.
So instead of getting, like if I mess something up, or instead of being like, oh, I'm really stupid for messing it up, I try and be like, all right, it's okay to mess stuff up every now and again. And even just that really small phrasing difference makes you feel more neutral about it. So probably at the beginning I wasn't ready to be like, oh, I can learn so much from this mistake, but like just being like, all right, it's okay to make mistakes every now and again.
Yes.
It just like made my internal
dialogue
sort of state come down a bit.
Yes, I agree. I actually, I've had a few situations like that recently. And instead of going for the usual, you dumbass or something, I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. It's all right. It's okay. I'm just like, not like smothering myself and all this praise, but just being neutral with it. Like, it's okay. It's okay. It's fine. Could be worse. We're all still here. It's okay. And
and I think... I've been trying, because I've got a toddler, and she's just at that sort of chaos age, I've been trying to practice it with her, and I've noticed that it's helped me a lot as well.
Wow.
Is trying to use positive language instead of negative language. So instead of saying like, don't do that, like, so if she's putting her feet on the table, instead of saying don't put your feet on the table, I say, please can you put your feet on the floor. And like, even that, it makes so much difference, because you're not asking her to do something that she's immediately going to say no to and get annoyed. And so it just, and I find that then I'm saying it more nicely, because when you're saying don't do something, you always sound cross and you feel cross. Where when I'm saying, oh, can you please put your feet on the table, it's like a request. And so just the way I say it, even if I am annoyed, sounds less annoyed, and then the whole interaction is calmer.
That's
having noticed that, then I'm starting to try and do that in my head as well.
Yes, it's like, it's a ripple effect, isn't it? No, it's so interesting. And because with kids as well, I think, isn't it, if you say like, don't jump on the couch, all they hear is jump on the couch. So I feel like, I think I heard that before. So yeah, you're kind of disarming them or like your daughter in a better way and with a better approach. And yeah, you're not getting as heated then in the moment either. So it's like a win-win
Yeah, and
situation.
it's interesting when you start noticing how much difference the words you use make to how you feel about what you're saying, even when you're basically
Absolutely.
saying the same thing.
But
And
just
now I've
word.
started noticing that that's made a big difference to my sort of overall stress
Yeah.
levels, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's great. And yeah, two things on that. Well, yeah, going back with all the mindset stuff. At the end of the day, reflecting on your day and
Mm.
seeing like where your behavior was different. So let's say you messed up, and instead of saying, "Oh, you idiot, you're so stupid," you instead said, "Okay, we'll try better. We'll try again tomorrow." But taking note of that in the evening, again, because you're
Hmm.
conditioning your mind and your brain, "Oh, okay, we want more of this. This is good." And you're strengthening those neural pathways again. And yeah, with language and words, I know to some people they might be like, this just sounds crazy, but it's real and it's like all backed up by science. But every word holds vibration and frequency. So
Hmm.
there's a lot of power in words, a lot of power in words. And it all, again, yeah, it's reflecting what's going on then in your own inner dialogue and what you're saying to yourself. I actually think that like people can change in so many ways by changing the words that they're using out loud and about themselves. Yeah, so very powerful.
Yeah, and I
Um,
think sometimes if you're, self-esteem is something that I really struggled with for a long
mm,
time, and a lot of the starting places that people had were way too difficult for me. Like
okay.
doing, all that stuff that people say, like, oh, just look in the mirror and say, like, I'm brilliant. That was so far advanced for
Yeah.
like what I was able to do. And actually, some of those really small things that seemed insignificant have actually made much bigger impacts because it
And
is just slowly making those neural changes.
totally. And what was it that that felt comfortable for you to do?
So I think it is just those little, instead of
The big shifts.
the big shift, it's those tiny little things of trying to say, like, oh, it's actually all right to be upset, or
Yeah.
it's all right to have a bad day and just sit on the couch all day, or it's
Mm,
okay. And instead of, and trying to reframe it as like, oh, I'm not being lazy, I just need
mm,
more sleep today, and
mm,
really trying to be in tune with that, but not
yeah.
in a like, oh, it's actually great to do nothing, but just to
Yeah.
not be
Yeah.
negative
Mm.
about it.
Yeah, yeah, I know. It's like there's like a fine line, isn't there?
Yeah,
That
and
can
but
be.
it's just because then when I was being so negative about it, then the next day I'd still feel like shit and then
Yeah.
do nothing again. And so by
Mm.
being the just neutral,
Yeah.
then it's much easier to be like, okay, we're like calmer. So
Yes,
now it feels more
exactly.
realistic to get up and do something or to
Yes.
restart the thing that went wrong 3 days ago.
Yeah. Oh my God. Totally. Dr. Joe Dispenza speaks about that when we're trying to make all of these shifts. The more attention that you give to what went wrong, it just literally keeps growing.
Hmm.
And we've all been there. Something goes wrong, or like you ate way too much and you might feel great the next day. And it's like, you just, you keep giving out to yourself about it. One, it's in the past, but two, what else did you do right that day? It's like you still got up, you still went to work, maybe you went to the gym on time, you made your fitness class, you made a healthy dinner after having that bad lunch, whatever. But people can be very quick to zoning in on what went wrong. So yeah, it's coming back and being neutral, or just also looking at what we're doing right. Feel
Yeah, I
people can be
really
like
like that
so
as
hard on
at the
themselves.
end of this is that idea to do stuff at the end of the day to reflect on what went well on,
Yeah,
because I think it's so, like you said, it's so easy to focus on the negative stuff,
yeah, yeah.
and having that, even if it's just part of like while you're brushing your teeth or something, to just think about, oh, actually, what's been good today.
Yeah,
And it
yeah,
probably, as part of a kind of bedtime routine, is probably quite useful as well for getting you
yep,
into a more positive space for sleep, which is another
definitely.
big area where a lot of women struggle.
And yeah, thinking of somewhere, it's in that book, Creating or Atomic Habits, about habit stacking.
Yeah.
And, you know, like we brush our teeth. I would assume everyone brushes their teeth once a day, if not twice a day. And it's just starting to become aware, like, what are you doing what are you thinking about while you brush your teeth?
Mm-hmm.
What are you thinking about as you put on your shoes? Every single morning, you're thinking, because there's always something going on up there, but you could be thinking the same, you know, poor thoughts every day. So it's just becoming aware of what's going on. And then from there, you can make the shifts.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think what you said about, I think, oh no, that was before we started this, with people who want to lose weight or get their sleep on track, and how that's so related to the nervous system. But also, instead of going through the cycles of gaining weight and losing it and stuff, if you can become aware of your thoughts, it will just help that process so, so much. It's coming back to our
Yeah.
self-worth, I guess, at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely is. And like one of the pieces that I do for people who are not ready for like full coaching is like goal setting, but in a really granular way of like, we're not going to change everything at once.
Yeah.
We're going to sit down and we're going to figure out, okay, of all these things you want to do this year or in the next 12 months, which one thing do you want to do first? And how are we going to break that down into something that is just going to take 15 minutes each day? And if you can do that for 3 weeks,
Yeah.
then you can maybe add one more thing. But it's
Yeah.
actually properly prioritizing what changes you want to make and doing it really slowly in a small way. Because, unlike with all these diets that people go on, if you try and change everything all at once, it's probably not going to last because it's too difficult to maintain.
Yeah, exactly.
Or if you go, what am I doing today already? So what can I add to that that's quite realistic and doesn't take very much time?
Yeah.
And then that becomes the new normal. And then you make one more little. And actually, when you then look back in 3 months, you kind of actually made huge progress.
Huge.
But without stopping.
Yeah, exactly.
Loads of stuff
and
and totally disrupting your whole family's life and
Yeah.
everything you do.
Yeah, and it's like a solid foundation in place then, isn't it? I remember when I worked with a few PTs and doing challenges and all this years ago, and it was, like, okay, tomorrow this is your meal plan, you got to hit your 10k steps, go to the gym every day. And it's like, then by day 3, fall off the wagon, or whatever that saying is, your self-worth crashes and you're like, oh my god, I can't even do this, or I can't even not have a chocolate bar for 3 days. But it's like you're trying to implement that plus 5,000 other things, you know. That's what really got me into coaching as well.
It's part of that like all or nothing mentality,
Yeah.
where then if you don't meet the goals on day 3, then you're like, oh, I'll just give up the whole challenge, because it's all about, you've got to do it every day, where actually it's much better, you know, overall. If you're going to have, the woman who I did my postnatal fitness course with, she's got a company called Girls Gone Strong, so it's all really female focused fitness. But she has this slide that she posts quite often that's basically like, it's all the same food emojis. So it's like a mixture of, you know, salads and burgers, and basically it just says like it's much better to do this than this, and the one that's better is like a salad, then a burger, then a couple of salads, then a chicken wing, then a hot, you know, than chicken wing, burger, hot dog, chicken wing, salad.
Yes.
Like it's
realistic.
Because and it is better to get balance.
Yeah.
So if you can't do all of it, like just eating salad for a week and then eating really badly for a week is definitely worse, and you could have all of that same food over the course of 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Mixed up, and your body isn't going to be as sluggish. So it's not just about doing everything for a week and then giving it all up because it's too difficult.
Yeah.
If you want to not be yo-yoing and all over the place.
Yeah, so true. And that's so much easier for your mindset as well, instead of feeling like you're stopping, starting all the time. And even the weighing scales going up and down like crazy.
Yeah.
Just a little bit every single day, as you said, and having your treats as well. I always say the 80-20 rule is really good, you know. Like, if you want to have a Mars bar every day, you actually can, and you can still lose weight.
Yeah. And it also
going to stop you more than likely from binging then as well.
Yeah, and I think that's, and also often people know, like, I think people are quite surprised sometimes when I'll say, all right, well, we're just going to start with having more water. Like, you're not going to change anything
Yeah,
else.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you're just going to start this
yeah.
week, more
Mm-hmm.
water, and
Yeah.
just make that your goal. And then, if possible, if you're drinking too much, like soda or whatever, like less of that. But essentially,
Mm.
we're just going to, and see how you get on with that, because that's quite easy, and it'll probably quite quickly have quite good benefits, because so many people are so dehydrated all the time.
I know.
And
Yeah, yeah,
if you can manage that, then, and that's great, then that's a good win, and then you can start adding good bits
yeah,
to that.
yeah, yeah. It's a great, really, really great baseline for people to start there. I used to, when I was more focused on gut health, I did a 28-day gut health reset. So that was
Hmm.
a bit more on the, on
Yeah.
this, a bit more kind of, not serious, but well, anyone who did it would have had a good baseline of
Hmm.
nutrition, or they had done different programs on that before. And those results always blew my mind and really did help cut through sugar cravings and
Yeah.
made people think outside the box of what they're going to eat instead. Like sometimes it just takes, whatever way you approach it, but that
Yeah.
forward planning, even looking at a menu ahead of time. Sometimes I still do that now. If I know I'm going for dinner or lunch and seeing what's on the menu, and then let's say it's for dinner, then I know I'm not going to have a huge lunch. Or if it's like
Yeah.
tapas and small food, I will have a big lunch, you know. But
Yeah.
I'm not going to go home then regretting what I ate and I ate too much because I just had some bit of an idea before going out.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think for a lot of women have so many issues around food, or
Mm.
weird ideas about it, and it becomes like a kind of obsession, and taking some of the heat out of that is often quite helpful as well, because I think that adds to the stress when there's food is such a big stressor for so many people.
Yeah, and it's
um
unfortunate because I really feel I was there. I used to be like that. It was just
mm,
so hard, and I was putting on weight, and I even worked with a PT, and I was putting on weight with them because it was all online, and it was just like not that not because it was just online, but anyway, my macros clearly weren't
yeah.
right for me.
Yeah.
And there was just so many times, or like when I met my family, we pretty much live like all over the world. So when we would meet up, would
Hmm.
be very special time, and usually around Christmas, my mum would bring like boxes of roses and celebrations, and like all the yummy stuff, and
Yeah.
I would just like indulge, and then I'd be so mad at myself, and I would nearly be like I don't know what the word is, like blindsided or blindfolded to actually enjoying the time with my family because I was so
Mm.
consumed, like literally by the food, and then living in regret, or where's there a gym? Is there a gym in this area? Freaking out. And it just, I've now I'm not like that anymore, which I'm really grateful for, and I can help other people in this area, but it can really take away from the joy of being present with your friends and your family and like actively listening to them, you know. And
Yeah.
I know what it's like when you're going out for dinner or whatever, and like you might even be thinking about the food on the table more than actually listening to the person. And it's a real like thing, but it can definitely be changed. Like if anyone's listening to this and they've been through that, like I swear I never thought I'd be able to kick my habit with especially chocolate. And I
Yeah.
did, and I have, and it's like it's amazing, and we're so powerful. Like, you know, if you think you can do that really well and focus on food that well and overindulge that well, it clearly shows you're disciplined. So it's just about shifting that discipline now into an area that's actually going to be of service to you.
Yeah, and not punishing yourself. I actually saw a reel that someone posted yesterday that was really interesting, and she was saying, so she's like um been sort of slowly losing weight for a long time in quite a healthy way. And
Mm-hmm.
it's really interesting because I guess she was someone who was like over 200 pounds and had done loads of those crash diets and lost it and put it back on, and then last year she's done like a really slow,
Mm.
so it's coming down. And anyway, and the real, and why it was interesting was that she basically was saying, oh, over Christmas this year I put on 5 pounds,
Mm.
but the big win is I really enjoyed my time with my family.
Yes.
Now I know that my long-term habits are good, and so that doesn't matter.
Yes.
So it hasn't ruined my time. It didn't ruin my holidays.
Yes.
It didn't ruin my time with my family. I
Oh.
really mindfully enjoyed my time, and I
Love
now
it.
have the right mindset to know that it's
Yeah.
not going to long term.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put on another £100 again,
Yes.
because
Yes.
I also know that for a year I've been able to maintain how I
Oh,
want healthily, and now I am confident to know that I can go back to that.
love
So I
it.
was able to really enjoy myself.
Love
And I
it.
think
Good
that
for
sort of
you.
thing is so important, because so many people
Freak out.
have that thing, and then it's like you were saying, then you're freaking out and trying to find the gym and
Yeah, yeah,
doing all
because
this
it's all
stuff.
short term. Exactly.
Yeah. And then you're
Exactly.
super stressed, and then that
Yes.
feeds into not being able to, it makes your nervous system stressed,
Yes.
and it makes you inflamed, and then you're much less likely to lose weight anyway.
Yeah. Oh,
It
and
all
it's
feeds into itself.
yeah, and it's exhausting in your mind.
Hmm.
Like when it consumes your mind every day, it is exhausting and it leaks into other areas of your life as well. But yeah, just like if people are in that situation, like thinking, coming back to your why, like why do you want to lose
Mm.
weight? Okay, you want to look good in the mirror, you want to fit into your jeans, you want to see X number on the scales. But changing your why, like I want to be able to look after my parents as they get older. I want to be able to run around the garden with my kids and run up a flight of stairs. Like bringing it back to your health
Hmm.
will really help ingrain those habits, I think, for a longer
Yeah, I
period of time.
really try and take people away from the scale, because
Yeah,
again,
good.
it's often quite meaningless. I really try and get people to focus on how they're feeling in their body, and that
Yeah.
actually, coming back to when we were talking about menstrual cycles, for a lot of women that can be quite difficult because they've not thought about it like that.
Yeah.
So, do and they can get really worried about looking too muscular and things, but like, do you want to feel strong? Do you want, if you've got boys and they suddenly want to take up mountain biking, or and they want you to do it with them, do you want to be able to be strong enough to join in, or just take them and have someone else do it?
Mm.
Do you want to, yeah, be able to, if your parents are going to be living with you and they're getting older, be able to help lift them in and out, all these things, and
Yeah.
how do you feel in your body?
Exactly. Exactly.
But that's
Yeah.
quite a hard shift to make, especially if you're someone who's always had really high focus on the scale.
Yeah. It's seen a few reels about that when it's like how girls think they're gonna be after going to the gym lifting weights for 2 weeks and then it's like Johnny
Yeah.
Bravo turns around and it's like it literally is so hard for you to look like really ripped and toned. Okay, everyone's
Yeah.
body and BMI and all this is different, but most women, you're not going to look like that very
No.
soon. And if that's your goal, great. But I really hate when women are afraid of lifting weights and going to the gym because they feel they're going to look muscly.
Yeah.
But
That's big. That was a big change for me. So I have like big legs and a big bum, and so when
okay,
I do get strong, they get
yeah.
big, and
Oh,
I
right, okay.
which I don't mind now,
Mm,
but I guess when I was a teenager, I was very self-conscious about that. I used to sprint, and so I had really big legs. And I remember once, and this is actually goes back to that like inner voice thing.
yeah.
And I was our school did like a athletics competition, and there were too many girls to be all together. And because I was in the team and I was good, they put me in one of the boys' races,
Mm,
and I beat a couple of the boys who were on the rugby team, which I guess upset their egos. And
for sure. Running, is
and
it?
so then a lot, yeah, so sprinting 100 meters, that was what I was good at, but because I have big legs. and
No, I'm
but a
sure
couple of
most
them then
women do.
said, oh, your legs are bigger than the boys on the rugby team. And at
Who
the
said this?
time, that was like one of the boys, because they were upset that I'd beaten them, and it
Yeah.
was true, and it was really upsetting at the time, but now I love it. I've like got
Oh, yeah.
powerful legs that can do amazing stuff, and they're strong.
Yes, exactly. And you're not going to like fall into a million pieces if you fell over, you know?
Yeah. And
Not that that would happen.
I no. But like I do, and now I'm like, oh, this is great. But when you're 16 and then that gets in your head and you
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
believe it for a long time, until now I'm
Yeah,
like, no, but it's great. I can run really far. I can
yeah,
pick stuff up. I can
yes,
like
yeah,
do all this great stuff. But it's
yeah,
so hard because
yeah. But see, you
like,
decided that you were going to change your perspective on it, which is amazing. But I
yeah,
literally just did a YouTube on that the other day that things that other people say can literally stick to you and stick in your mind. And
yeah,
if it's from if it's from a boy and you're a kid or like a boyfriend or your parent, it can be so like soul destroying at the time.
Yeah, and so often, if 10 years later you say to that person, oh my God, you said something and it stuck in my head forever and was really negative, they won't remember it because for them it
No,
was just like
no,
a throwaway thing.
totally in
And they'll
passing.
often be quite shocked that,
Yeah,
like, that's
yeah,
still been there 20 years later, like,
yeah,
affecting you daily.
yeah, yeah. I know. So, yeah, I think it's good that we are talking about this because I bet it has happened to so many people. That's usually where our stories come from. It's something that
Yeah,
somebody says that stuck,
yeah,
but it's all just about like looking at it from a new perspective, knowing that they said it. Maybe they didn't even, yeah, as you said, they probably don't even remember that they said it, but it's like how it was internalized then. But yeah, shifts can be made for sure, and then you can turn it around like completely into something really
yeah.
empowering. Mm.
Yeah, so I do think it's so interesting. And it's once you can make those things and calm your nervous system down, like everything else becomes easier because your body is
Mm.
not fighting sort of weird stress all the time, and then it has the space to do so much other things, and it frees up so much of your brain
Exactly.
to do other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, you're not operating from survival mode or thinking that, because that comment can be said, but not only are you maybe hung up on it, but that can be shaping how your nervous system is in your body. So if that was something that was said that either scared you or frightened you or really hurt you, and you're now a sensitive person, you could be internalizing a lot of things the same way that other people are saying. But it's, even though you could be an adult now and you might be like, God, why did I get so emotional about that? Or why did I get so upset? But it can be because your nervous system is looking for situations that are going to feel the same basically to it because it's
Yeah,
familiar, and it thinks it is doing its job right, but it's just not a healthy response for your body to be in.
yeah. And then I think what's interesting is that how you can see that you've made really good progress in that is that now, like, if someone says something negative to me, almost always I can just be like, oh, that's about them, not
Yeah,
about me.
yeah, yeah. Or
Whereas
you can be
before,
like, yeah,
that would have,
fall to a million
weeks and weeks
pieces.
of, yeah.
Yeah, 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 totally. I know I'm the same. Even still now, somebody will say something and I can smile in the face of what used to trigger me. It's such an
Hmm.
amazing feeling. It's really, really great. And when you know what to do in the moment of those triggers, like how to communicate with your body and re-regulate yourself, you can save like days, weeks of your time, you know, because I remember when my nervous system really wasn't in a great place and somebody would say something and I would feel, you know, that feeling when it's like you just feel sick instantly and
Hmm.
nauseous, and I would just get this, I can nearly remember it, like a feeling just going from my shoulders all the way down to my toes. My whole body would feel different and I'm like, I am now not like operating the same way I was. I could have been all happy and yay, life is great, and then it was like
Hmm.
boom, it's like, oh God, and it would take so long to like get myself out of that state. But I teach all of that in my course, The Empowered Mind, if any of
Yeah,
this
so good.
resonates, of how to regulate yourself in those moments so that you don't go in this downward spiral and feel awful maybe for a couple of days. Yeah,
Yeah, brilliant. That's, I
crazy.
was just about to ask that.
Oh.
What other stuff do you have so that if people want to know more or learn some of this stuff?
Yeah, so I have The Empowered Mind, which is a course all about how to avoid future burnout. So, getting to the root cause of triggers and
Hmm.
maybe your emotional patterns, why you're waking up feeling all fearful and anxious with a tight chest, and strengthening that connection that you have with yourself. So, I think it's great to be working with coaches, mentors, everyone. Everyone doing this work is fantastic, but sometimes it can be very overlooked as to what's going on internally. You know,
Yeah.
people can delegate, and this is why I love coaching, because it's like a collaborative approach, right? You're
Hmm.
working with the person. So this course is about you coming like home to yourself, recognizing your internal patterns and triggers, making changes from the root, connecting with yourself, and also connecting with your feminine energy. As I said, a lot of us are operating, well, people can be operating too much in their masculine, which leads to burnout. And burnout ultimately is you're not doing enough of the things that you love. You're doing too much of the
Mm-hmm.
hard stuff, the work, the job, the commuting, looking after your kids, which is fun, but I'm sure I don't have kids yet, but that it can be like quite tiring. So it's
Mm-hmm.
bringing you back to your joy and what lights you up, and then creating realistic goals and a plan of how to actually achieve them that are in line with you, what you want, not somebody else, in line with you.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I have it as 6 weeks, but it's self-paced, so people can take as long or as short as they want. And I have got, what else do I have on there? Mobility, so just some exercise movements for people mainly who work at desks. So there's 5-minute exercises and 15 minutes to help relieve tension and stress from the body. Also helping relax the nervous system, just taking breaks away
Mm-hmm.
from the screen. And then there's a couple of different options to work with me also. So I can do one-off, 1 hour sessions, check what's going on in the body, remove blocks, have you feeling healthier and happier and lighter. And making a little
Amazing.
game plan, or can work with clients longer. And depending on when you're listening to this, I will have some exciting news happening in Ibiza if you would like to join. Woo, yeah,
Amazing.
yeah. So I'm very excited to
Great.
share all of that.
Oh, amazing. I'll put links to everything in the show notes for anyone
Oh,
who's interested as well.
thank you. Thank
This
you.
has been so great, and it's
Yeah,
so, I mean, it's so great what you do, and it's so important for people to
thank
start
you.
thinking about and making those changes. So
Yeah,
thank you
right
very
back
much.
at you. I'm really impressed with that January challenge. You're probably like one of the only coaches doing that. So I love it.